Hello everyone. Well, I just said that King's movie we just uploaded, and after I've been working pretty hard, I will give you some more stuff. It's like other ones going to go out this week, so I just saw the first episode of Star Trek Discovery, so before I sign up for free trial CBS All Access to watch the next episode, I'm going to give you my early impression on the matter, as well as another bonus, the Orville, which is also going on Fox. So I'm going to start with Discovery first, since we've been waiting for longer, so... And my early impressions on the matter are quite positive. I just want you to know that this is not a review, at least not right now. Since I would need to. Also not my first impressions either, because I usually need to see at least 3 to 5 episodes before I get a solid impression of what the show is really like for me, and to find out if I like it, I want to continue. However, based on this first one, I can say that after all these years since Enterprise ended, my thoughts on the matter are fairly positive. I mean, the acting is definitely very strong across the board from both of new cast members as well as experienced actors such as Doug Jones, Michelle Yeoh, and Jason Isaacs. Since his based on his team so far. And as for his thoughts on whether or not I would like him, hey, I don't have to opiate too much in order to enjoy how the character is written, because of how wouldn't be the first time he's played a character that kind of is rough on the edges, like say with Zhao or Lucius Malfoy, or even the villain of the Patriot, if you'll pardon the parlance, man. And special effects quite impressive, and they're consistent with a lot of the other Trek productions I've seen in recent years, such as all the films, and had a lot of events in 12 years since Enterprise went off the air, and based on that, how I could not really get into that one, man, since I find it to be, based on this early phase improvement. It's definitely, for me at least, a better play than Broken Bow was all those years ago. And the only one conflict in between two series, but it takes place chronologically before the events of the original series. Here is and how different everything is from that perspective. Since this one, I think, much more clear point for me that it's a solid 10 years before the events of the original series 1966, and so, as a long-time fan, like very long, I've almost been watching this series in some capacity almost as long as I've been watching TV in general. That's, which is like very little, for me, since that I've always appreciated, even when and the production is not always the best, to see how it does. When it works, it really works. Hurts me in sense, and hurts me in sense how just in general I find it a fascinating fictional universe in general. How it managed to use science fiction as a parable of real world events, and even if that irks some people, which I will not mention here because they do not concern me in general, if I wanted to make that sort of thing my field, I would, but I don't. Instead, I'm definitely going to be potentially enjoying this, see more over the course of the season. I think even though they've aired the first part of this on TV, I'm glad that the digital business model is going to be one that's going to be signing up for CBS All Access free trial not long after I post this video. I am also going to be heartily enjoying what else I can see. There's a contingency of other streaming platforms. They're going to be airing it on those ones first, such as Netflix, before they don't have CBS, Yes, and it's definitely not a bad show from the first, based on the early one. That's very rarely does a series hook me from the very first episode, but I can honestly say that overall I'll be wanting to see more, or in all probability. Since while I do not know how it will fare in the long term, I can say in the short term that it's already impressing what the Enterprise was. New series I most watched more often were like Deep Silent Voyager when I was younger. By the time I was watching TV, TOS were on the reruns, and And I think one of the earliest things I remember watching on TV in general was the final episode of TNG All Good Things, and I'm always eager to see what else can be developed in a sense. Even if many of the ideas and character types may not be as new as some people claim, in many ways, fiction itself is like stories being passed down by generation to generation. I've seen many parallels to when I was very young and watched the original Cage Fight for the first time, which is the first one they did in order to get the show made. The original series, even before they had the Man Trap first episode, and I still watch the previous series to this day in some capacity. It's available on close to every digital video platform, like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and so on and so forth. Since even if not every episode or movie is good, I still submit in many ways, even if you don't like something, the memory can stick with you for some time, and you can always create something out of that, as I noticed from other internet uh, video creators such as Linkara, SF Debris, Letter Media, Splinkett series, a lot of ones I follow, as well as many other ones that just anyone who definitely has like internet connection, webcam of some kind, and even if not everybody's is into it, that's totally okay. Hey, that's still gonna be a good topic of discussion. That's why I still submit, in any capacity, people will still be watching Star Trek in the 50 years long after initial wave and the actual people are gone. Since that is the power of a fictional verse. As long as there are people who want to talk about it, or in some capacity, people will pay attention to it in some way. We all know that these are just like pictures on a screen, actors playing parts, but they in many ways can give us something in the illusion we submit to, who and that's definitely something that can often be appreciated no matter what I feel about it, and how others do either. On that note, I should also give my early impressions on the Orville, which has also been airing on Fox since earlier this month. About let's say, about a couple weeks ago it started. Since I decided to wait in some of the fashion to see what I thought of it, and that's the whole thing. Even though generally, I admit that Fox has not always had the best track record with science fiction series. I have admitted before that I'm not entirely wasn't entirely pleased with the way they handled Firefly back in the day, but I am glad that I discovered it again as I came of age and still appreciate how it's grown as a fandom. And even with all this foofara about the new Doctor who I think, given how the infamous film handle, I may look at that to show people how it's not the first time it's happened in the future, but that's our part right now. The Orville, it seems, is the brainchild of Seth MacFarlane, who is responsible for animation such as Family Guy, American Dad, and The Cleveland Show, among others, as well as Jon Favreau, who has managed to work not only as a good comedic director with the cult comedy Swingers, but also help kickstart the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the first couple Iron Man films, as well as still contributing in some way, even though he stepped down writing a third. He still plays Happy Hogan and the third film, Spider-Man: Homecoming. And this film is set in the distant future and is sort of a parody and homage to Star Trek, as the intent for Seth to help bring some of the ideas of better genre after many verses have gotten very dark, as it were, And as someone who is not the biggest fan of McFarlane, I can often appreciate in some capacity what he tries to do, especially if he definitely is enthusiastic about it, even if some the content kind of makes me confused, to say the least. sometimes I have to Google what he's talking about, what he's referencing on the show. I may get some jokes about some of his media that's ubiquitous by how many times it's been on TV or play on the radio, but other stuff, like it's just like Six Thing. I mean, Favreau, whether he's acting or directing something, I can always appreciate him. And also, interestingly enough, the show even has some Trek alumni, including former her people who worked on TNG. After Roddenberry passed on, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise, such as Brandon Braga and Rick Berman. And after the first 3 episodes, I can say it's okay. I mean, it's not my favorite work of his, to be honest. But overall, it's okay. I mean, they do have some um growing pains to get through. Since personally, not every joke landed in my case. Because in many respects, it definitely feels like an homage with some jokes, hoax, but it does kind of spook some of the silly aspects. One thing that stood out to me, apparently one of the shuttlecrafts in the first episode had, for some reason, having a death from the Xbox 360 as part of the chair. There's only one light lit, thankfully, for the red ones. It's three you need to watch out for. I mean, some of the more risque ones didn't always land in my case. Given I often my particular attitude about the matter. But from a purely technical point of view, seems alright. The visuals are not the best, but they are serviceable. About par for the course with a post for like say, like a made-for-TV production or a fan film. And yes, I am still kind of flabbergasted by the whole XNR debacle. But that's not important right now. I mean, and also, but some of the things other things got a chuckle out of me, like say, even and though it's definitely parodying Trek, like in a fashion which has people having a drink at sublight speeds, or apparently the food synthesizers on the ship having medibles in them. Given how Seth's rather casual stance on the matter, because personally, it's about on par with like a later episode of Family Guy or some of his film work for me. I like the first Ted, alright. I have not seen the second one. I don't plan on it. I heard it was very good. A Million Ways Down the West was similar because it was okay, but kind of like how Blazing Sailors casting much out of the Western genre, I can say that in many ways Galaxy Quest casts a similar thing for science fiction for parodying that. It's set a very high standard, which has been very difficult to follow, admittedly. But as both a parody of the Trekverse as well as an homage to the series, it's okay based on these 3 episodes. I'll be willing to watch more. I don't know how it's going to do, how long it's going to last, especially, but it does have people that are willing to at least back it. Given advertiser friendliness, as it were, I think it's definitely not going to be a problem given how, in addition to the captain, Ed Mercer, played by Seth, having a Kermit the Frog toy on his desk, and apparently also Star Wars is never seen without Trek for some reason does not. I definitely had to clear that with Disney, given how they own the rights to both Jim Henson's estate as well as Lucasfilm. And also, third episode, subject matter I will not deal with here based on how touchy it is, but apparently there's a plot point where they actually watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which something as I often do every Christmas. That's apparently you not only had to clear that typically with rank ambassador state, but also the people who actually own the rights to him. There's actually a whole Rudolph of, I think, enterprises, if you believe that, and if you pardon the pun there. And I guess, even given the context was applied, I'm actually surprised seemed okay with it. I mean, but also the reality TV they gave them a second episode, the aliens who put the humans in a zoo, they definitely seem to be engaged by all these Real Housewives, I mean, and all these other ones that. But in the same capacity is that I can definitely think that, given the shirt I'm wearing, also how I have my sets, it's definitely going to be a guilty pleasure of mine as I watch the real thing come back as well, since, I mean, I kind of appreciate what they're trying to do, even it's not my favorite show, but it's okay so far. I think it go in a direction from here. I mean, it could improve as it goes along, like American Dad kind of has, or it could take a bit of a nose like post 2005 Family Guy which I mean, but in any capacity, sometimes parody can often be a way to learn how to improve your own work as well. Since it's often I am often suggest that Galaxy Quest may have played by influencing the alternate reality films in some capacity, given how not just in the way in the writing and acting, but also the actually production is actually how the shaky cam they only have on the bridge whenever the ship is hit. They actually put carbon hydraulics for that on the protector as well as that actually ended up being on the Enterprise and the alternate reality films. And whatever the case, I'd definitely be excited to see where both shows go from here, as well as how a fourth film is in production for that series, even with Anton Yelchin being gone. I may look at some other films with him in the future that are related in some capacity. And Abrams, if you'll pardon me there, has confirmed that they're not going to be replacing him. And they're going to in talks to deal with his passing. You know what I'm saying? But whatever the case may be, I will definitely be watching the second episode, probably giving you more videos after I see more of the series. And whatever the shape series takes in the future, I'll be there in some capacity. And I mean, the original series has been one of my favorite shows ever, and the spin-offs go. This year marks the Next Generation, so I already have one of the reviews in my marathon for the movies ready to go out, so you should see it soon, as I started last week. But as then, I will definitely keep in touch. Live long and prosper.